Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Purposeful Productivity. Hey y'all, how you doing? It's Friday night and we've got some stuff going on here. Let me get myself together. I'm still trying to learn, y'all. Still trying to learn, but it's all good. Welcome back. We are closing out Iron Sharpens Iron Month. We have been celebrating Black History Month. Yesterday was officially the last day of Black History, but I could not end Black History Month without taking time to honor and bring back the roundtable of the core four. Folks have been asking when are they coming back? Well, they're back. They are really, truly all here together to share insights, to share wisdom, to help us focus our minds on what we're striving for. If you want to be productive, you got to have an aim, you got to have an intention. So that's what they're going to help us figure out tonight and just have a good time. These are four people who I rely on and I have relied on from the beginning of my journey. And I'm going to introduce them in the order that they appeared on the show. And so the first person that we have with us is none other than Steve Worthy. He kicked us off this year just the same way he kicked us off last year. He brought us in. Steve is a seasoned business leader with over 25 years of executive retail leadership experience. Side note, his leadership experience, he says, is retail is simply fantastic leadership experience. If you want to know how to be a good leader, he's the one. His career is focused on assisting podcasters and leaders finding their unique voice. But really, he has some new stuff that he's doing. One, I think, is a book that he's coming out with, and some other things that I hope he gets to talk about tonight. He began podcasting in 2007 with By Husbands for Husbands, a podcast and business focused on helping entrepreneurs, and he has just simply soared since then. And I am thrilled to have Steve back sharing with us. The next person, and this is a toss-up, I could have gone either way with these two gentlemen, but I'm going to go to Joshua Uwe'l, who is also my brother. He is a brand artisan with an extensive 15-20 years experience in public relations, branding, marketing, design. And when I tell you he designs every day. Like literally every day he's doing some type of design. He's also the author of 4 books. Four books. And he's, I love him. The next gentleman is the person I call, he shoved me off the cliff and said, you will grow wings on the way down. But in all seriousness, I wouldn't be doing this without Walter Strong III. He is an online live stream coach. He's a producer. He has his own show. And he shares tips and tools that make live streaming easy for beginners. He is on a serious mission on YouTube to help the new creator beginners to clarify their channel and their message. And bringing up the rear in closing, last week y'all got a chance to hear from this gentleman, the enterprise technologist, Mr. James Hicks. He's a creative entrepreneur driven by discovery and focused on purpose, a thought leader, content creator, an advocate. He is dedicated to building trust and confidence with us and community and this whole thing, the business of being a creative. So I want to get them in about 2 seconds here, but this is where we are. We are at Iron Sharpens Iron. And why is my thing not working? So I'm going to go ahead and get them in. All right, so welcome to the show, gentlemen. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you very much.
We
Appreciate
are
you.
You're back. You're back. It's been a whole
We're back.
year. It's been a whole year. And we got some folks out here, so we want to say good evening to some folks who are out here. We got, of course, of course, I'm going to see if I can do this with, and it's real teeny. Uh, Frank Jackson is out here moderating, saying good evening and welcome. Put your hands together and stomp your feet for Chapter 5, Iron Sharpens Iron, the Core 4. Thank you, Frank. Put your hand.
Come on, Frank.
Okay. Are we going to
There
have
you go,
church
Frank.
tonight?
Come
Are
on,
we going
Frank.
to have church?
Yeah.
We didn't
So,
already
I'm
had it.
sorry
We
for
having it right now.
Yeah.
It's already
We
started.
did. Yeah.
all
Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
one of our panelists is out there. One of the core four is out here welcoming everyone. So thank you, Mr. Strong, for being out there. And then, okay, they already cutting up because the emotional CEO is moderating and being a panelist on the round table at the same time.
There you go. Got
Nothing
to.
wrong with
He had
that.
the phone
That's how
in
you
his
do
hand.
it. That's how you do it.
That's how you do it.
And James Hicks is misbehaving. Joshua is a bad
Oh, yeah.
man.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Bless you.
And then the other one, so they're already cutting up, y'all. They're already cutting up. Mr. Steve Worthy, let's go. Let's do this. Super excited to be with these amazing world beaters. Yes, 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 yes. So we got some, I thought I saw some other folks in here. Hey, Roy, so glad to have you in the building with us tonight. Ask some great questions, y'all. If you got questions, Q Colin, get your questions in because they're going to answer them. And my friend, my morning motivation friend, Inanea, so good to see you. James got more goodness for you, so go ahead. You ask great questions and have great insight. So ask those questions, young lady.
Yeah. I love her name. I love her name.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
It's a really pretty name.
So
Yeah.
good to see everybody here. I'm not going to assume that everybody actually knows these gentlemen, so I'm going to ask them to give us a little bit about their origin story, their business start, their creative start, who they are, their mission, and I'm going to start with Mr. Steve Worthy.
Oh my gosh. Origin story. I feel like I'm an Avenger now. I guess I am. I guess we are kind of sort of Avengers, right? Man,
Okay.
Founder and CEO Worthy Retail. We focus in on senior retail leaders and companies, helping them move to their best next, whatever that's going to be, whether it's their new best opportunity, new best role, and also making sure that companies develop and train their teams appropriately as well. So we bridge that gap that a lot of companies leave off with their retail leadership. So that's what we do. Leadership, man. It's Air Force guy. Reluctant leader for so long in my life, for so long in my career, until my pastor got a hold of me like in around 95 and kind of shook me up and gave me my first leadership book. And from 2003, I started writing business plans. Remember those? You actually had to write a business plan. I did that for founders and CEOs back in 2003. And I never looked back from a coaching and development standpoint. And so I've been doing that all the way since then. And then about 2 years ago, went off on my own, left corporate retail and came and started doing Worthy Retail, soon to be Worthy Retail Global. This fall, we're going to be changing our name and changing our vision a little bit. Boom. There you go.
Hashtag
That's my
Meat
story, and I'm
Nation.
sticking to it.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Awesome.
being
Well,
right, boy. Ain't
congratulations
nothing wrong with
on
being right.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome for all of the moves you're making and growing the business. I'm
Yeah, thank you.
excited
Thank
for
you. I know we'll talk later about more of that stuff, but I wanted everybody else to get their opportunity to shine. So
Absolutely.
kept it short.
So I'm gonna switch
Uh-oh.
over, and I could have went to either one of these because they came on at the same time. I'm gonna move to Joshua Uwe'l, however.
Oh. All right. So my origin story came from mom. So, but how this
cut up
all
Flashing back,
started.
boy.
I kind of have
He
to.
flashing back.
Kind of have to.
He
Listen.
ain't wrong.
Listen, I am here to be a student. I am here amongst a bunch of black men that I not only admire, but I also get the ability to serve in in one way with working with you, Florence. But my origin story. So let's get to that. started out just always a leader. I'm an Aries. My birthday is this month. We're the first sign of the zodiac. I'm just loud, proud, and want to affect change in people. My goal is to be a change agent, right? So started out in nonprofit. Did that. I wrote every job description, every position I was ever in. At some point, I wrote myself out of a job, and I started working went right into entertainment. I'm sorry, went right into fashion after that. Finished my job in December. 7 days later, I was in New York running 2 fashion houses because of just networking. Did that for several years, left fashion, went into entertainment, worked with some of your faves from K. Michelle, Patti LaBelle, my late great cousin Luther Vandross, and several others to help build my career and work on branding. A friend of mine gave me a book. Long story short, book changed my life. Just threw God right to my chest and gave me the punch that made me change the direction of how I moved again. So now, what I do now is I help nonprofits become profitable. I am the owner of Posture Enterprise LLC, and also now I've just taken flight with Black Nonprofits Rise, helping nonprofits own and create the narrative that they deserve by affecting the community. So thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm going to switch on over to the man who I will forever be thankful for, Mr. Walter Strong.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are live here on the Power Productivity Planning Show with dear Florence Dono, here with the live tribe, the Core 4, back once again. Walter Strong here from the Huddle. I'm an online coach, live stream producer who shares tips and tools on making live streaming easy for you as a beginner. My origin story, I would say I've been on YouTube now since 2018. Started like most creators, trying to find their niche, trying to find their creative voice. And over a process of time, fell in love with live streaming. I felt live streaming unlocked a creative side of me that all uploaded videos just didn't do for me. And it just allowed me to be free. It allowed me to tap into that part that maybe sometimes you hide in the closet and don't share with others. Not an extrovert by no chance, more of an extrovert. But once I got on the microphone, kind of remind me of my days of Run DMC, Public Enemy, and all, a few hip hop person. Reminded me of those days, and just got into live streaming and just fell in love wanting to help other individuals to have confidence on camera, find clarity in their message, and to be consistent in their content that they share with the audience. So great to be back with the Core 4, aka the 4 Horsemen.
I knew somebody was
I
going to
thought you had bars, man. I thought he was going to drop some bars, man.
Goodness gracious, hold on. Let's let that marinate for a minute, because Walter was coming with some things he had on his mind.
You know what I'm saying?
Goodness.
You know what I'm saying? I thought he was about to drop some bars on there, though.
All right. And here we come with Mr.
Oh, Lord, don't let me follow
Hicks.
that. No, don't make me follow that.
Yeah, we are. We're making you follow it.
Good Lord have mercy. Y'all pray for me. Y'all pray for all of us as well. First and foremost, before I get going, Florence, thank you for this opportunity. This is an honor and a privilege to be back. Loving seeing the growth, loving seeing the innovation, and loving seeing that you are just going out there and, as the hat said, just starting. James Hicks. I am an engineering technologist. I'm the founder of Hicks New Media, where I'm driven by discovery and focused on purpose. Right. My idea and my plan, my path, at least from a content creation perspective, is to help people tell their own stories to their communities and helping them get out of their own way, regardless of if it's trying to understand how to do the administrative piece, the tactical piece, the strategic piece, not worrying about infrastructure, but actually getting out there and communicating to folks and being successful in doing that. I've been in enterprise technology for 30-some years. I'm an OG in this game, and take a lot of the learnings that I've had from those aspects into today's world, which is highly influenced by technology, and just enjoying that ride, and especially the fact that I get to engage and interact with those other 4 folks that you see on the screen too. So thanks again, Florence.
All right. Well, now everybody knows who y'all are. I'm going to, again, who you is. I'm going to, again, encourage you, if you're watching, that first of all, thank you for giving us a little bit of your time that is precious, that you can't get back. It is your sole non-renewable resource. You can't buy it, you can't steal it, you can't borrow it. Once it's gone, it's gone. So the fact that you're spending some of your time and investing it here for you, we appreciate. We still appreciate. And so ask your questions, Q colon in front of it, and we will definitely focus on answering your questions, because that's what's important, that you get what you need out of the time that these folks are giving us tonight. So thank you for being a part of the live tribe. And Ananea says she thinks she has a bunch of questions, so she well, throw them in.
Let's go.
Let's
Hey,
go.
let's
They
roll the
love
sleeves up.
they
Let's
love
go.
answering questions. So throw your questions in, Ananea. All of them. Put them in. Get them in. But I'm going to start with asking a question, and I've asked it before, but I think it repeats, and it's going to be interesting for me to hear the answer. Go ahead and talk about the difference between being busy and being productive. The difference between being busy and being productive. Yeah, you caused this. You caused this. So, Mr. Hicks, I'm gonna let you start since you caused this problem.
And I appreciate that because it's actually a deeper question, right? And when you think about it in the context of, again, either being personal or being professional, being busy versus being productive, what are you spending your time on? Is what you're spending your time on something that really resonates, something that really matters, something that kind of moves that needle, or like the speech that I have written here in my studio says, puts a dent in the universe. And I wake up every day with a list of the 3 things that I wrote down last night. I eat the frog and I tackle those 3 things, and I'm trying to put that dent in the universe. And that's how I, to myself, say I'm being productive, because it's actually progressing my goal, progressing my mission, progressing my business, progressing my relationships with family, friends, acquaintances, and then also on the professional side. So being busy is spinning wheels a lot of times. And being busy means that you spending too much time going back and forth between social networks and catching up on the entertainment side, and doing this, doing that, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, and instead of actually locking in on something that matters to you, to your core relationships, to your longevity from a financial perspective, from an emotional perspective, from a spiritual perspective. If you do those things, if you focus on those 3 things, that's being productive. But I think when you start swaying from that, again, this is just my perspective. I'm trying to be locked in on what I'm doing, especially 2024. If I spend too much time seeing what everybody's doing on where the kids at, the kids on the Snapchat now, they out there on TikTok, they out there doing that. If I spend too much time watching the fancy dances and watching stuff like that, I'm doing busy work, and I'm not actually locked in on what matters. So busy versus productive is it being done with intention and purpose?
He said on the Snapchat, y'all. That's the old
On
man
the
talking.
Snapchat.
On
That's
the
the old
Snapchat. That's the old man
You might
talking.
as well you might as well said Friendster or MySpace.
I didn't want to flash back too much. I didn't know what the age group was in here, so I did that on purpose to see if someone would say so.
I'm gonna hop to
Can't
Mr.
take me
Walter
no
Strong
place.
and see what how do you see being busy versus being productive?
For me, being busy, simply, I'm looking at a lot of interesting things that I want to engage in, but I'm not committed or focused in picking one and getting started and doing. So I maybe look at some things that Mr. Hicks may have on his channel, and I pull from his resources, and I say, okay, I'm going to do this and that and that. And then I pull from Mr. Worthy, retail leadership, and pull some stuff from him. So I'm being busy over here, being busy over there, but I'm not focused on what direction I'm going to go in so that I can be productive. And at the end of the night, I'm very tired. I'm very emotionally exhausted, because I feel like I've been going back and forth trying to decide what do I really want to focus on, but I'm going back and forth just being busy, and as a result, it leads the bitter fruit of just being exhausted. Where I'm productive, I know I've accomplished something. There's progress in it, and though I may be physically tired from a standpoint that I've known that I've put in some good work, I know that good work is productive. So that's what it kind of means to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to ask this. I want each of you to answer that. Joshua, what say you, sir?
Sure. My answer would be a little different. So I look at it as in the regards to, am I executing or am I producing? Because when I execute something, right, for me, that's like a checklist item. And if anyone who knows me is in the lab, or Florence, when I have to do checklist items, i.e. administrative things, they drain me, right? I have to get them done. So it's like, for me, there are things that I have to get done. I don't really have busy work because, in my opinion, everything I do is purposeful. I don't know about anyone else on this screen, but I know these 3 black men and this black woman, they do purposeful work, right? So because of that, everything that they touch has purpose. But for me, it's the frame is what's executing and what's producing. Everything that I produce, there's a flow to it. It's continuous. It's moving. It's growing. It's shaking. It's evolving. Executing for me is the tedious work of administrative, sending out my invoices, doing my marketing, making sure, even though I love marketing, right? But doing it for yourself is something different. So the things that I have to do just to function and to stay afloat as a business owner, as an accountability partner, those for me are the things that I execute. So I don't really have busy work, if that makes sense. I try to make everything
Mm-hmm.
perfect. And when I'm not working, I'm not working. When I'm off, I'm off. I'm not
Mm.
talking about work. I'm not doing work. So I don't do busy. So anyone who knows me knows if I'm working on something. But if I'm off, like, I'm just a lump on the log. I'm not doing too much.
Okay. And Mr. Worthy,
Yeah.
what say you?
Yeah. Yeah. Walter used the word commitment, which I 100% agree with, and I think that is one of the major differences between busyness and productivity. But I think busyness is the appearance of being productive, right? So I think there is a difference between here's when I thought about this, I thought about it like when I would walk in stores and I would see people in aisles, they would just be moving things around. They would be moving products around and just doing this. And it's really just it's just busy work because I'm in the building, right? And there isn't a lot of productive work taking place. And I can tell the difference when I'm walking around a store if people are actually being productive because they're doing things that are actually going to matter, and they're committed to that process. But that busyness is the appearance. Excuse me, is the appearance of productivity, and so you want to appear like you're being productive. It's almost like we see a lot of people just they're doing so much, and that's cool, right? I mean, I've done a lot myself, right? In the context of, and I've been in that camp of doing too much myself. But then when you're doing too much, are you actually doing things to move the needle, like James said, towards something? I think the productive mindset is around getting towards a not just a goal, but finishing something and accomplishing something. But I think that busyness is just simply a form of the appearance of being productive.
Okay. So I'm going to hop in here with this conversation a little bit myself. And what I'm going to say is that it's focusing my mind and my activity to
Mm,
accomplish the outcome that I've set, whether that outcome is big or small or
mm,
medium.
mhm,
I'm not, to your point, Steve Worthy, I'm not moving stuff on the shelves to appear to have things to do. The whatever I'm doing, whether it's preparing something to eat, it's intentional. Today, I was
mm,
intentional. The time I started chopping vegetables, the time I put food in to cook because it was on a schedule. Food had to be done. That was the purpose. Get some food so
mhm,
get in the stomach. preparing for the show, when I did things, those are purposeful. It's not busy work, it's necessary. Maybe, Josh, you would call it execution, but the end result is putting out this material with you all for the community to grow from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I would think about you said something, and it brought up another live streamer, Doc Rock. He had this shirt. It was all called Purpose and Intent, or Intent and Purpose. Right. It was a shirt that he would always, rock, and I was just when you were talking, that just kind of came to mind to me around the difference. Right. There is a difference between that busyness and the productivity, but there is a purpose and intent behind what you're actually doing to move towards something. Now, I know there's some busyness that tends to take place in all of our lives, right? And it happens.
That's where I was going to go.
But I think
that's where I was going to go.
Yeah, but go ahead, James. Well, go ahead. Finish the point then. Finish the point, boy.
Well, no, I was just going to say, we're not saying, all things in moderation, right? Again, and you have to have a nice and a decent work-life balance, and you have to be able to do, like Joshua says, right? Just sit back, unplug, and do nothing for a minute, or do whatever it is that takes your mind off of the tasks at hand. And there's nothing wrong with being busy to an extent. There's nothing wrong with being productive to an extent, but that ratio of the two, you do have to kind of be conscious about keeping those in check to make sure that you don't fall off of the items that you've got written down on your vision board. Over there, because that's literally where mine is, right? To make sure that you stay locked in, you stay focused on what it is that you really want to accomplish this month, this quarter, this year, whatever the case may be. So I guess we're saying what we're saying, but again, all things in moderation. Spend time with yourself, spend time with others, do all the things that make you who you are, but stay locked in on the things that also matter in terms of where you want to go.
Yeah. And I agree, right? Those things, time with people that matter, people who are important to you, hobbies that are important to you, those are things that refill you. Those are things that refill you, re-energize you. I'll use me. I won't use anybody else. For me, the thing that re-energizes me is quiet and a good book. Refills me unlike anything else. Absolute quiet, not just quiet. Not talking to anybody. I don't have to be, out in the woods. It just needs to be quiet for me. And
Lauren said, y'all just need to be quiet around me is what y'all need to do.
Quiet. Yeah. I thought you were going to say love and hip hop, like Atlanta. That refuels you. Like you sit down.
No, don't. None of that. None of that. None of that. But that's one thing that refuels me. You could call it being busy reading, 10 minutes. Y'all see, I got a bunch of books because I'm a book nerd. I love the physical books and soaking it in, but that's me. So whatever that thing is that refuels you, we do have another gentleman who's joined us. You may know this gentleman, Mr. David Hunt. Welcome to the party. Welcome
What to do, sir?
to the
Dave.
party.
What's up, Dave?
Glad to have you. If you have a question, put a Q colon in front of it, and we're gonna get to it. So we got some questions here from the community. So, but I do want to. Y'all saw what Inanea put in about this is the first day of Women's Month, but it seems like these men are on their way to owning this day with all this knowledge. Thank you. So I'm going to go back. She asked a couple of questions. If you got more, please put them in. Her first question is, and I know that is real teeny, but I'm going to read it. At what point in the business development, process would you recommend someone seeking assistance with completing a business plan? I'm going to start with Steve Worthy since he talked about writing business plans.
Oh, at the very beginning. And it because here's what I found is that when I was, because I always go back to, I was talking to somebody about business books. I think it was James, and I always go back to older business books, like 1999, 2000, 2003. A lot of stuff that's out there today is built on the premise of a lot of those books. And that's when the business fundamentals were the business fundamentals. And they just really focused in on and locked in on like what needed to take place. And so I think about it this I think about business development and the business plan in the same way. And I think at the very beginning of your ideally of your idea is that you try to find people that will actually add value to the process, add value to the business plan, to where it is that you actually want to go. Now there are some times when you may not want certain people to understand and kind of know your vision, but I think it's important that at the beginning, because what happens is that when you start to move down the pipe of trying to figure out what it is that you actually want to do, service, product, or whatever it is, you may need somebody to come in and help guide you, provide some some what if scenarios, also someone to challenge your assumptions. It's very similar to from a coaching standpoint, right? We are so close to our ideas that a lot of times we we don't want to call the baby ugly. You may need somebody to kind of come in and be like, I'm not particularly sure if that's going to work. So I always think to get the best ideas, you need some measure of friction at the very beginning, and then that will actually help you flesh out like a better idea so that you can move forward.
Awesome. And Mr. Strong, what you say about that?
No, I would have to agree with Steve on that. I don't really have a lot of experience on business plans, but when you are looking to start something that you are very passionate about, it is good to have a group of individuals around you that have your best interest at hand and that can be able to say, yay, or I think you need to go back to the board and kind of refine this. So whether if it's a business, whether if it's an idea to launch a YouTube channel, it's good to have individuals that you feel that you trust, that is willing to hold you accountable, and not going to be yes people. But I have to start.
That's a word. Not going to be yes people. Wow. Joshua, I know you love accountability. You love accountability. So,
yeah, it's
what about someone seeking assistance with completing a business plan?
I'm going to make it simple. So, from the beginning, seek assistance, right? Because what we do is we want to start a business. We have a great idea. We have vision. We have purpose. We have vigor. But what we do not have is a sense of the business's viability and sustainability. Businesses close within the first 5 years, right? And that's because we go into the idea with it being just an idea. It's never a fully fleshed and vetted business plan, right? So when you think about it, and the funny thing is, for my industry, for what I do, marketing, branding, all that great stuff, right? We're the last thing that a business owner thinks about. The last thing. But the funny thing is, the first thing you see when you turn on the television, when you go outside, and when you grab your favorite item out of the refrigerator, someone had
Speak on that.
But yet you're not marketing your business.
Yeah.
So when I think about it, I think from the beginning, yes, accountability, but also have someone that understands the long game approach, right? Understand to build to last, not to build to have a story.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead, James. I'll let James. I had something else, but go ahead, James.
James.
I did, but I was going to let that marinate right there too, man. Joshua coming through. Hopefully y'all got your pens and paper out, because listen, this is free consulting that you're getting. I'm going to add this in. I'm just going to layer onto this cake that we building right here. Find that person who is not in your immediate circle. Find someone who you can reach out to that you do trust. Every coach needs a coach. So invest in yourself with someone who actually is a proficient and professional in that realm as well, right? Because you want that criticism, you want that feedback, you want those hard conversations, you want to have those debates about, well, like Steve was saying, someone that's going to tell you that your baby is ugly, right? But give it to you in a constructive manner so you can grow from it. So invest in yourself. Find someone who you can collaborate with on a regular, recurring basis, where you have action items, where you have deliverables, that if you don't show up to this next meeting with your own business coach, then the meeting is over and right, we go until next time, but you still get billed for it. So you have accountability for that. Have that plan day zero, right? Because you don't know what you're going to do if you don't have a plan. right? If it's just in your head, and if
Yeah.
it's not written down, what you gonna do? Is a plan is just a plan. It's not a goal unless you got it written down. And have someone that can put the red teacher marks on it, underline it, and say, what do you mean by this? Have someone ask you, what is it that you mean when you say this, Walter Strong? What is it that you tell me what you want to do, but explain to me? Can you articulate that? Can you give me the elevator pitch, right? In the 30 seconds that we're on the elevator, can you tell me what the huddle is, what the huddle does, who it serves, and why? When you dial that in, that's when you can progress to the next stage. But you can't do that alone. Don't try to do it alone. It's not useful to yourself and to your own psyche to try to do that alone. Find someone, again, that you can trust and that you can rely on to help you get to that next level.
That's good.
And just in case, if you feel that the word ugly, the baby ugly is too strong of a word, maybe you want to substitute with the baby's just hard on the eyes.
No, but the baby's
No.
We gotta speak in terms where you don't want to just crush someone's dreams.
That's a sign for the episode.
You don't want to crush.
There you go, right there. We coming real though, right? We gonna tell you if your child got to be here.
But if I tell you, look, this is hard on the eyes. I don't.
Yeah. Anybody wants to know that reference of the origin of that? That was a Seinfeld episode from back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And so that it's one of the classic episodes. And and what it is that they got the baby, and the parents are like, "Oh my gosh, this is my newborn baby," and everybody's walking around looking at the baby, and they're not saying that the baby's ugly, but they're looking at the baby, and the facial expressions let you know. And it's the same way with our businesses, and it's the same way with our businesses. And just to kind of layer on a little bit too, one of the things we did with and focused on with those founders back in the day, and what I'm putting myself through is the plan is just that. It is a plan, right? There has to be some measure of like, is this viable enough to go to market with, right? Is it viable enough to actually do something with this? So when you start to develop a plan, you actually have to, I think, Joshua talked about it, the viability of this plan, of this product, of this service. And if you're able to do that, the biggest hurdle I think is not the plan itself. It's actually the go-to-market process of that. So the plan is just going to be that, but the go-to-market piece and actually to get people actually who want to buy it, service it, or whatever it may be, that's going to be the biggest hurdle. And I think the go-to-market strategy is incumbent upon the strength of that plan, if that makes sense.
And that continues to iterate, right? I mean, you're not going to have that day
100%.
0, day 1, 100%. Week 1, quarter 1, right? Because that's that whole bringing it back into a content creator perspective, if that's where we're going, right? That's that whole niching down perspective. Right, you start big and you want to boil the ocean. You want to turn lights on. You want to press record and talk to people. But then when you start getting camera presence, when you start getting comfortable having conversations, when you start getting comfortable with doing the thing and serving your community, that's when you start niching down and actually talking about retail leadership. You start talking about YouTube coaching. You start talking about branding and marketing, or the business of technology. That's when you start really getting laser focused on what it is that you're doing and who you're trying to serve. So keep iterating is, I guess, where I'm saying with that.
Awesome. And so I'm going to move on to the next question, unless you have a follow-up, or anyone.
No, that was just question number 1. Lord, we long-winded. I'm long-winded.
But listen, before we move on, I want to say this too. Before you hire your team, hire an agitator. Because what we do way too soon is hire a team because we're ready to have an assistant, a publicist, a manager, or whatever, right? Hire an agitator. An agitator is someone who literally has no loyalty to you. They have loyalty to your vision. They want to make sure what you say, how you say it, translates to the market, right? Because to the point is, you don't want to come into the ball, and you don't want to come into the stadium and again turn every light on. When you know that there's a particular group of seats that's made for you, that has your voice, your sound, your tenure, that's your syncopation. That's where you should be, right? That's where your 6 figures, your 7, your 8, your 9 figures are. It's because you're having a direct conversation with them. I know that when I hop on this Zoom, I'm so Lord, when I hop on the or Iron Sharpens Iron, I hop
Watch your
on
tone now. Watch your tone. This ain't no.
YouTube. I know, right? Hold on, let me get
Did
my.
he
Let me
really say Zoom? Did he
let me get my
really?
brain
Is
right.
it watch your tone
Listen.
now.
Here's the thing. Guess what? And I did, and guess what? I just got 2 new people to subscribe because they want to know why I use Zoom instead of YouTube. See, you got to get how marketing works, right? So let's keep pushing. So the way this thing works with an agitator is that you need someone that's able to come in and mess up your thought process, right? Who is your audience? Why are they your audience? What would you say to them? How are you going to say it to them? Because as we mentioned earlier, some people
Y'all,
can
I get
take
to live with. I get this every day.
Yes, she does. She does.
I
You
do.
get to be
I
around
get it every
someone.
day.
You get to be around someone who literally understands the value in understanding your voice, your tenor, your sound. Right. The difference is I get paid for my intellectual property because what I know is valuable, right? So when you bring someone like me and you bring someone like a Florence who helps you align your purpose, right? What happens is it causes you to agitate everything that you once thought. So now you have to rethink, regroup, push back, right? You need someone who's willing to challenge you. Every person I know on the screen, they're challengers, they're agitators. They're gonna push back because they know there's something bigger, deeper, and greater inside of you. But we can't stop with the idea, right? Because the idea is just the surface. So
Yeah, that's
I'm
good,
done,
man. That's good.
All right, y'all. I tried to tell you. All right, next question. Are we ready? This is to Joshua. Joshua, what book was it that you say changed your life? Also, is there a certain period of time? I'm going to ask that and then I'm going to come back and ask the second question. What book was that changed your life? And I'm going to ask each of you, what book would you say was most impactful to you as you got started on your journey? Starting with Mr. Joshua, since it was to you.
All right. So, Miss E, the book was Spiritual. I know it, and every time I say it, I stutter. So, Miss E is what we're going to go with for tonight. So, Miss E, Spiritual Living in a Secular World. That was the first one. The second one was The Shift by Henderson. And both of these books just challenged me because one, again, I was working entertainment, and my job was not just a publicist, but I also, when I was reading the book, I was in the studio and I was keeping the artist away from his drug dealer, away from his girlfriend, away from his boyfriend. And there's only so many rooms in a studio, right? And as soon as I got the drug out and I got the artist in the booth, I was handling the baby mama, but I'm also in my bag with this book. So if I sat down, I started reading the book, and by chapter 2, I was like, so I'm gonna have to leave this good money because God is telling me this isn't for me. So that's kind of how that works. So again, Spiritual Living in a Secular World, and then The Shift by Keon Henderson. And then the book that I would say changed my life is the book that I wrote, The Purposeful Planner. It's my book. It's what I needed as a young professional. Like, I thought about accountability, finances, learning how to invest, learning how to take time for my mindfulness, for my spirit, for my soul, how to watch my tongue, how to write down my goals, right? How to speak life into myself. These are things that as a Black man I did not get because I did not have the right Black men around me. And, being closer to 40 than I am 20, I'm in a certain age range where the group of men that I grew up around, they were go out and do it. And if we don't say nothing, we're proud. So I had to just wait for something to happen and see if they were proud of my growth or not. So that book, Purposeful Planner, was the love letter to myself, but also the book that helped me become the purposeful entrepreneur I am now.
All right. Who else got a book that impacted you?
When you said, hold on, you saw me turning around to get it because I knew it was close by me. So I'm
mine's outside. I wanted to leave out and get it. Mine's outside there too.
Come on.
I was like, so I got 3 authors.
I can't read
and again, mine lead mainly around the business world, right around the technology world. I'm a Gladwell guy, I'm a Covey guy, and I'm a Maxwell guy.
Yeah.
21 irrefutable laws of leadership.
Come on. Yeah.
Right. Very straightforward, very common sense types of strategies for how to talk to people, how to lead people, how to listen to people, how to be attentive to needs, desires, all of that stuff, right? So this book really helped me to understand like I said, this and the Maxwell Gladwell books. I got Stephen Covey, The Eighth Habit over there. Those books right there, just foundational books that aren't hard to read and aren't difficult concepts to understand, but really help shape me in terms of how I want to be presented. Making sure that whenever I turn these lights on, whenever I press record, whenever I show up for someone, that I'm actually bringing some value. I'm not just talking, not just here to entertain. We're gonna throw a lesson. We're gonna throw a sermon in here as well. But we're gonna have some type of a learning to where you be like, okay, let me take that back. And again, by honing in on these skills specifically from Mr. Maxwell here and these laws of leadership help me to understand how to deliver messages to varying levels of an organization and to varying levels of people in life, right? Someone just getting started, someone's in a seasoned veteran, someone who I'm talking to about marketing and business and finance and things of that nature, but really how to position myself as someone, as a trusted advisor, as a subject matter expert, as someone that they should be investing in and that I should be investing in as well. So 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership would be at the top of that list for me.
Okay. What about you, Steve? What's your book?
So
Steve got a whole bunch
my I know, James, because they get tired of me. In 95, I got my first 96, got my first leadership book. And I was developing the Leader Within You by John Maxwell. And at this time I was living in Atlanta back then too. And I would attend every single thing by John Maxwell. But the two books, that one really kind of started. Of course, I mean, I can't, we're gonna talk about the Bible. That's just foundational. But Spiritual Leadership by Henry Black. And the subline is moving people onto God's agenda. It was one of the first books that I read that combined the ideas and perspective of leadership with the Bible, and it gave me a completely different perspective on leadership, right? Because when I first got when I got that first book, I was coming out of the military world, and I was slowly moving into the professional realm, and so my leadership cadence was completely command and control. And it wasn't until I sort of actually left New York and moved down south where I sort of softened up my leadership style, and then the Maxwell book and then this book sort of changed my life. And I got one more, and I apologize. I know you just said one, but Andy Stanley wrote a couple great books, Visionarian, but then this one, it's called the Best Question Ever, and the best question ever is, what is the wise thing to do? Like in this situation, what is the wise thing to do? Right? You're arguing with somebody. What's the wise thing to do? You're disagreeing with a business partner. What is the wise thing to do? Right? That question for me has always been sort of an underpinning of decisions that I make. And I read all these books, early 2000s, and so they're really the three books that really have me in every my life.
Okay. And Mr. Strong, what about you?
I would say the second book that has really impacted my life as a man, and as a husband, as a father, and just learning how to be a good son to my parents is He Motions by Bishop C.D. Jakes. That book really taught me the importance that you can be around a group of people, but you can be silently screaming out for help because life is boiling all around. And he uses the analogy of a man who travels from place to place, but he had these exotic fish. And one night after coming home, if I remember the story correctly, the temperature on the tank or where these exotic fish were at malfunctioned. And so he was only so far away, but the temperature got so hot to the point that the fish died. And he just began to imagine, once he discovered that the fish had died, that they had probably, if they had emotions, they were crying out and screaming because the temperature was so hot, but no one heard them. But though he was only so far, and he used that analogy that sometimes as men, We can be around our wives. We can be around our children. We can be around good friends, co-workers, whoever that you allow in your sphere of influence. You can have them around you. But if you don't open up and share your emotions of what you're going through, you're silently silently dying, because of life is just so hot. And that really impacted and changed my life to really to become a better person in sharing my emotions as a man. And then the second book is Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. I read that
Everybody got that
in
book.
college.
That's a
Everybody got that
classic.
book.
That's a classic.
Like,
You can read that. You
I
can
got
probably
chills
read
when you
that in
just
less
said that,
than
man.
an hour. If you're a true reader, you can read that in an hour. But I when you really take the time with reading it, for me, it brought me to tears, because it was at a time where I was in a bad relationship with someone, and I knew the relationship was bad, and I just didn't want it to admit. And when I realized that the cheese had moved and that this woman was
Come on
not
now
the
with the
person for
boy.
me, or if you are a female and you are in a bad relationship and you know this person is not good for you, but the cheese has moved, you can do a couple of things. You can be like the humans, be analytical about it, and hem and haw about it, or you will be like the mice and say you're going to be sniff and scurry and get into the maze of life and find your cheese.
All right, y'all.
My goodness, boy. He brought out the man. Boy.
I got
So,
chills.
Y'all can get these books.
When he said move
y'all
my
go get
cheese,
these books. You know
y'all
what?
need to get these
got
books.
chills.
Inanea says her book, and
Listen.
I agree with you, young lady. One of her books is "Oh, the Places You'll Go," a Dr. Seuss book. Josh, who we see leaping
The
off the
Alchemist is
stage.
good.
"Oh, the Places You'll Go," and that person is right there in ATL. It's somebody we know really well, and he did a training using that book. I will never forget. And then her other one
The
is The
Alchemist is no joke,
Alchemist.
dude.
Yeah, it is no
that's
joke.
no
It is
joke.
no joke. I'm gonna say
That ain't
for
no joke.
me, the two books that, and I'm gonna use nonfiction books, because there was actually a fiction book that got me through college, believe it or not, other than the Bible. But
Which
my
one was
two-
that? What was that? What was that one?
I will never tell.
Come on, say it.
No.
Okay. my bad.
But the two that helped me early in my first job out of college was The Magic of Thinking Big. And it is still one, and what I brought from that is, and it's a struggle today because it impacted me a lot, is people really are not interested in you hearing your sob story, your illnesses, and everything. Don't tell everybody about all your problems. You got to have a trusted few, but don't tell everybody, because they're not really trying to hear all of that.
Yep.
That was the thing that and it still resonates with me. The second book is Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi.
Such a good.
Because when I wanted to start understanding how people built businesses, there was something he just really lays out. Like, if you're going to a meeting, if you're going to a conference, if you know, how you bring a group of people together, small groups of people, anytime you have a meal, don't eat alone. Be intentional. Learn who these people are and why you want to have a conversation with them and how to stay connected with them. So that book is it's actually over on a table here, not far from me. Very impactful. Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. If you've never read it, I would encourage you to read it.
Yeah. I would always. I one of the things that I teach a lot of people that I coach. When they go up to HQ, right? So they're still in the retail world, and they go up to HQ. What they tend to do a lot of times is that they tend to just kind of stay with their own, and I always encourage them to take time to actually connect with the HQ people, and then take them to lunch, and then just bring them all around. And you know, there's so much change that takes place when you are just sitting and they're not eating alone. And it's that dialogue that actually kind of takes place, that unanticipated dialogue around an idea, or somebody just brings something up and you're just like, oh, I didn't even thought about that. But like that idea of, I think the idea around eating is it's very vulnerable, right? Because you got your mouth open, you don't know how people are chewing, right? You don't know what people like. It's a very vulnerable state. Just to think about that, right? You're eating with strangers. There's a lot of vulnerability that's taking place there. Are they judging me for being a vegan? Are they judging me for drinking Coke Zero? There's a whole different mindset. That's what I got from that book when I was thinking about, when I read that book, was like, there's other variables to this. It's not just don't eat alone. There's some vulnerability that takes place when you are bringing people to sit down with you. So that's my whole point.
I remember there was a period of time when in my career, and I'll actually still do this. So I'm telling on myself. I'm not telling on anybody else, because this actually happens to you, whether you know it or not, Steve. To your point, but I would take someone that I was considering partnering with or hiring to lunch.
100%.
And it wasn't
100%.
because I necessarily wanted to have a meal with them.
Come on.
It was because I needed to understand how this person conducted themselves in public.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
How they reacted when they were with someone they didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Could they carry on a conversation?
Yes.
Or were they more?
Yes. Thank you.
Were they more concerned about what's on the menu, or how much it cost, or what they didn't like? When we're even today, when we're talking to business people, and I'm not talking solely for profit. This is very, very true in the nonprofit world. If you're doing community service of any type, those are the things people are thinking about, even when you show up on screen. When you show up in these squares on a screen, people are saying, are they looking around? Or am I looking in their ear? That's the virtual version of never eat alone. How are you showing up? Whether it's for your church, your homeowners association, the board you're sitting on, the pitch you're making to try to get a deal, very much so. So, Steve, thank you for bringing that forward. And I'm going to stop there. I'm telling on myself.
Don't stop. I'll keep going.
Don't stop.
It's about being confident, though, right? It's about being confident and want to make sure. I think someone said again, you don't want to be around yes people, but you want to be around people that are confident, people that can articulate, people that can bob and weave, people that can be flexible and pivot, all those adjectives, all those adverbs. And depending on the situation, you want to make sure that whoever you're partnering with, collaborating with, working with, who's going to be your vice president, who's going to be your whatever the case may be, and you can tag them in. And they still have the same thought pattern, the same mission in place. So yeah, taking someone out, let's sit down for a meal. Let's see what it looked like when you do spill some spaghetti on your shirt. How you react? Oh, they don't have Wagyu meat here. Oh, y'all only got, right. Okay. You like that, right? So, where are your values at? Where are your morals at? Where do you stand on these kinds of things? And then again, get in where you fit in. Just don't be with someone who's scary. Right. Make sure that you can dialogue with folks. And I think that's a really good means of doing it. Taking someone out for a meal, for a drink, for whatever the case may be, in a different location and in a different situation, and see how they get down. Don't just take them downstairs to the corporate cafeteria. Take them around the corner to a lounge or a bar or something, or something again outside of their comfort zone, and then see how they engage and how they interact. That's good stuff right there.
I'm even going to challenge, because I'm gonna bring this back to what we're looking at right here.
No, Lord, somebody's alarm going. I guess we done. Now she didn't kick us out.
That was not me.
Nah.
That was not me.
That was my fast.
She
That was
said,
not
"Grab
me.
your bag.
But
You ain't
just
got
think
to
about
go."
what we're doing here, right? We're
That is
we're
Pomodoro
putting
camera.
live video. We're live video creators, hosts, producers. The 5 of us, we are. When someone shows up, and I'm about to get him, someone shows up in your live stream, are they friendly?
Come on now.
Do they even tell you they're there at some point? Maybe not right away.
Mm-hmm.
Do they tell you they're there? Or are they trying to be helpful? Earlier, Inanea was greeting others. She's not an official moderator, but she was greeting others. She was making the house welcome for anyone. Roy, same thing, making the house welcome
Yeah.
for those who are coming in.
Yeah.
That's another way. Just because we're on screen, there's a whole world happening that's not on screen. Walter Jeanette in the building, y'all.
Yeah.
Walter Jeanette,
Bad. There's a bad man right there.
Building, in the bad man in the building.
True
He in
leader,
the building.
a
Thank
true
you
leader.
For coming through. Thank you for coming through, Mr. Jeanette. So excited, and I'm gonna shout you out because you. Oh yeah. Ooh, Monday, y'all. He doing a content strategy webinar.
Oh, yes?
Monday night,
Okay.
he's got a excuse me, my eyes is itching. Content strategy webinar coming up. I think it's at 7 p.m. And I will drop a link in chat just in case you want to come through and check it out, because I think you'll get some value from doing that. If I can see how to type, y'all. I would ask my
Yes, put that up there. I'll check that out.
I would.
Yeah, definitely come check that one out.
I would tell my moderator, but I didn't give it to him in time. So I think
There
this
you
is
go.
correct,
Somebody got it
Mr.
in there.
Jeanette. It's walterjeanette.com/webinar. It is Monday. And I think he's going to do like a little after party too. So y'all
Go
come
ahead,
hang
brother.
out.
He probably gonna be DJing or something. He gonna be on the ones.
You
and
know, he
twos.
may hit that little that DJ
He a bad man.
station behind him. Florence is a great promoter. No, not really. I don't even know how to do promotion. That's Joshua Uwe'l is the promoter. He's the marketing genius. He got it. But thank you all for sharing those books, because reading is so fundamental. Whether you do audio books, you do digital books, you do physical books. I'm a physical books person. But whichever way, it's feeding your mind. It's feeding your mind. And once your mind expands, it can't go back.
Yeah.
There was something that I learned in undergraduate school, because one of my degrees is in African American history. And there was a time where you don't teach them to read. Don't teach them to read. And if you want to keep them ignorant, put it in a book. Now Joshua can tell you, 5-10 minutes, if that, from the Underground Railroad. Imagine that. We're still closing out Black History Month. So these books feed our mind. We want to know how to get better. Video is wonderful. We use it. It's a great tool. It has transformed me in so many ways. But I would venture to say these wonderful history makers who are on the screen with me, who I learned from, they've also spent the time in the books feeding their mind. So don't miss that. Don't. Walter's out of control. If you want to hide anything from a bad, put it in a book. That's exactly what was said. I cleaned it up. If you want to hide anything from put put it in a book.
And that's a
Exactly.
shame, isn't it? I mean, but it's
Facts.
yeah, we don't have
Well,
to
that's
go
'cause
down
it's
that road. But
information.
it's a shame that it's
Yeah,
true.
'cause
It is
Yeah.
a true, it's a fact
Yeah.
statement.
Yeah.
It is a fact statement.
Mhm.
So
It's knowledge.
these history makers, they're forging something that hasn't been forged. I submit Black Wall Street is they're leading to rebuild something that was burned to the ground.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
These folks on the screen, right here. James Hicks, Walter Strong, Joshua Uwe'l, Steve Worthy, Walter Jeanette, Roy Richardson, right? Frank Jackson, Inanea, forging a path that hasn't been forged the way it's being forged, being a part of the community. So that's just Florence. I'll get off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
No, and there's something to be said about being
David Hunt.
authentic. There was a post, and someone put it on LinkedIn, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the two guys from Earn Your Leisure, two Black guys from New York who are really helping the Black community with financial literacy. They've been doing it for years now, and they are just blowing up. And these guys are they're on CNBC. They're going to Davos, right? All Switzerland. They're going to all of these big events, mover and shaker events. And what the post was talking about was that if you listen to them, they both have still heavy New York accents, and one of them has a little bit more street than the other one. And but they don't change. The dialogue and the level of what they communicate may change, right? And the intricacies of what they're communicating may change, but who they are just never change. And I just loved that post so much, because I think the tendency is that when we start talking about like everything that we're trying to do, the natural inclination is around code switching, right? We won't even call it that, but that's what we tend to do. So how do you continue to remain authentic to yourself and communicate the way that you communicate? Because no one can communicate like Walter, right? Walter Strong, right? No one can communicate like James, right? The way that James communicates, Joshua, Florence, right? So I think part of whoever's out there listening, part of everything that we're talking about, and hopefully this has come across in one of our book selection, but how we also communicate is that you have to remain and be your authentic self, because if you don't, your message gets diluted and you lose impact. So I'm going to try to find that post, and I'm going to share it to all of you guys as well.
Yeah,
Please
do. That's good.
I got to chime in because that's hot, right? And again, you can't have longevity if you don't be yourself, and your audience, whoever you're talking to, is going to see through that. Right? You can put on all the makeup and all the tears of a clown, and you can pretend to be somebody else all you want to. But when you come online and you 1080p, you 4K, whatever the case may be, and you crystal clear and you trying to say something to someone, and if you don't have your own swagger, and if you're reading notes, and if you're using ChatGPT to come up with your entire premise, your audience is going to read through that, and they are going to cut you off immediately. Right? You are not going to have a sustainable business. You're not going to have a sustainable community. You're not going to have a sustainable level of dialogue, and you're not going to have that trust. So we come as we are, right? We crazy, right? We in here cracking jokes. We in here telling the truth. We breaking it down. We saying the baby's ugly. We saying all those things because literally that's how we talk and how we get down. Right. But when it comes down to handling business, not just business, but when it comes down to handling business,
right,
you can trust. We look you in the eye. We mean what we say, and we're going to do what we can do because we are truthful. We are committed. We are honorable. We are all those adjectives as well. So take from all this conversation, be you when you go out there and do whatever the thing is that you want to do, but do it with passion, do it with integrity, do it with honesty. That's going to be the longevity piece right there. That's going to make you not the one hit wonder. That's going to make you not the Milli Vanilli. That's going to make you the long-standing hope. I had
He
so
went
I'm
there.
gonna bring a sport.
Millie Vanilli.
Not
my
the
music
Millie
now.
Millie
Vanilli.
Vanilli. No,
Yeah.
I
you
know.
just say
Millie
Millie
He
Vanilli. Why I
Vanilli.
did
say
say
that?
they. He
Okay.
did say we
Yeah,
being who we are.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay,
I
we
feel
no.
being
I
who we
feel
are.
yeah,
I feel like
You
that
may
was good.
I know.
you may want
I
to
feel like
Google that if you don't know who Millie Vanilli is. You may want to Google
yeah.
Y'all young cats out there.
that. You got you got to know your
Well,
audience too.
I could probably say I know that one. But yo, what was just dropped between Steve and James? I mean, crazy, just crazy good. So I'm gonna hit you with my perspective, right? So it takes a posture. Everyone on this stage, on the comments, there's a posture to being successful, right? It's not for everyone. So for those who can't posture up properly, I want you to know it's okay to sit down.
Mm,
I'm talking to those
Ooh.
who are willing to do the work, right? When it doesn't, because
mm,
I'm gonna hit you with something, right? Look on the
mm,
screen. Everyone has a background because this is what they do. I don't have a background because this is not what I do. I'm great in person,
Oh my
right?
God.
But guess what? But here's the thing: when I step up to the screen, I show up just like everyone else on the screen shows up, right? Because I have to.
amen.
Is there's a
You
posture
got
to
to.
business. So when we talk about this, I want that should be the first qualifier. Are you postured for your purpose? Because if you're
Mm,
not postured
mm,
for your purpose or postured for success, what are you doing here? Don't call a James,
mm,
don't call a Steve, don't book an appointment with a Walter, and you darn sure better not call a Florence trying to get your purpose together. Because if your posture's not right, like
mm,
I appreciate what they said, right? I appreciate that, but also we gotta put the qualifiers in here. You got to be able to do the work when it doesn't look like the work that you want yet, right? You got to stay focused when the vision and the reality aren't matching. Florence can tell you, I have been dead darn broke, and I showed up looking like Gucci, Louis, and every other designer out there. Because whatever shirt I had, I made sure it was good. I set up straight. You play that part because it's not on you; it's in you. So the fact is, the
mm,
way James can be authentically James, because he can't be anything but that. The reason why Florence can show up and when the year's time you because she authentically showed up as herself. Walter, I tell Walter all the time, and Florence can admit to, so Florence can confirm what I'm about to say. There's something that Walter got, baby. I didn't see him step in for Florence where everything went amok and he turned it into a joke. And it was just the best live, the most confusing live, but the best live ever, right? I've seen Steve. I still talk about it. I've sit and seen Steve. There's something about the way that this gentleman teaches, right? There's a rhythm to it. There's something that like I sit back and I sit in awe. They're postured for this thing, right? You have to show up and show up as the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
That's why what they say is so important because it doesn't matter what they do, what they got on, how they look. The reason, and here's the thing: the funny thing was Earn Your Leisure. Earn Your Leisure just did their first conference this past summer in Atlanta. Right? They had
mm,
billions in the house.
mhm,
Millions were
mhm,
given out to Black businesses, and what
mhm,
I can proudly say is that they've been a family friend of mine for years. So I remember when
mm,
talking like this and talking about money. That's real. Their posture got them in those doors. Their posture got
mhm,
them through to do their first conference, right? So
Mhm.
the qualifier is, are you postured for this thing?
mm.
Thank you, Walter.
Yeah, you were talking about all of the Gucci and Louis Vuitton. For some reason, I don't know. I'm gonna date myself, but the name Gordon Gartrell kind of came up in my spirit. You guys remember that from
Wait,
the Cosby Show?
Yeah,
when he
yeah.
wanted
See,
he
there you
the
wanted
go
that
gold,
again,
Gordon
going all the
belt,
way
Gartrell.
back,
silk
boy.
shirt. Yeah, the Gordon
What
Gartrell. Yeah,
just came up when you were talking about that. I was like, Gordon
yeah,
Gartrell. I was like, why does that come up in my spirit, man? That's funny.
yeah.
Walter
But
Jeanette
look, that
out there
shirt was
cutting
crooked.
up. Walter
Listen, that's the
Jeanette
man.
is out there cutting
Mhm.
up, y'all.
No, but see, but Walter gets it though, right? Because
Yeah, he
Walter will
does.
talk to
He
his
absolutely
community in the
Yeah,
does.
exact same tone. He come up, show up as
Mhm,
himself. He
mhm,
probably got his hat back on right now, backwards on right now, chilling, right, doing his thing. But when he comes and when he opened his mouth, somebody better
Come
listen
on,
because Walter gonna
gotta
yeah,
drop
respect.
some nuggets every few
yeah.
sentences, and he comes up and
Gotta
shows up
respect.
as himself. He tells you what he does. He's a man of action instead of just a man of words. right? I
Mhm.
remember when Walter would sit in his car and do a quick little video or something and be dropping some knowledge. So again, he gets it, and he's out there proliferating that. He's out there sowing those seeds and talking to folks within his sphere of influence, and they are getting better because of what he's teaching them. He's got 10% more than than they know. So he's the coach, he's teaching them, but those other folks are coming on right alongside of him, and he's pushing them as well. That's all we're trying to do, folks. I mean, at the end of the day, and I guess one of the morals of this is that we are surrounding ourselves around forward looking and forward thinking and positive folks that are out here trying to, again, put that dent in the universe. That is
John the
not a lofty
Baptist is
goal.
giving
That's what
us.
we're trying to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. John the Baptist is out here. To my listen, you already
Hitting them
know
like
I'm gonna
Thanos.
get you like the thing.
Listen,
So
brother.
I'm gonna, cause I don't want to take all y'all's time. I'll stay here with you, but I'm gonna be respectful. You know, one of my favorite things is I want you all to ask each other questions. I want you all to ask each other questions because this is also for you as well as for the community who's watching. And it's been a year. It's been a year.
Oof.
A lot has changed for all of us. We've gone through seasons.
Mm.
So we done went through some seasons. And I'm blessed to say, you know, some of you I've witnessed firsthand, and some of you I've witnessed from afar, the seasons that have come through. Walter, Locust and Honey out here. So I'm going to start with the man who kicked us off, Mr. Steve Worthy. Who you got a question for, and what's your
I
question?
knew you were gonna start with me. I knew you were gonna start with me. I felt like the kid in the front classroom that ain't ready. I like my homework is in my locker. You know,
Exactly. I like that analogy. Damn, can I run back to the locker right quick?
Oh, at least you
Can I
didn't
get
say
a
the
call?
dog ate it.
Yeah, can I get a hall pass real quick? I get a hall pass. Go get it out my locker. You know, man, that's a can I get a pass? And
No.
no,
Because I was going to ask you, so I know she ain't going to let me. So, no.
Yeah,
you know,
I figured that y'all
all
would
right,
rather.
well,
Internet is on y'all. Treat
well,
you like
I'll
Charlie
remember last-
Brown.
Okay, all right, here we go. I remember last year. I think I asked Joshua about the book, right? In process, if I'm not mistaken, last year. I think that's what I did. You know, as well. You know, that's man. Come on, Florence. And he ain't gonna let me off either because I see you like staring at me.
No.
He's staring at me.
Don't worry about the dead air.
at
We just gonna sit here and marinate. Just look right in your grill too.
Yeah, because y'all need time too. So y'all ain't front. Y'all ain't kidding nobody. You ain't kidding nobody. Y'all need time too.
Now you're getting it.
James like, man, we got your back. We got your back. I'm
we
thinking too.
we with you, player. We with you.
You know what I'm saying?
Going outside.
With
I know it's cold out there. Going outside by yourself.
If you need a little more time,
I know y'all knew this was coming.
Yeah, I literally
I got
forgot.
one.
I literally forgot about it. I literally forgot it. Who got one? All right, go ahead.
Yeah,
Thank you.
My question would be for Mr. Strong the third over there. You have pivoted from one thing to another thing, now to a new thing. What caused you to do that? Why did you do that? Did you do that because that was something that you felt innate needed to happen, or did you get some feedback from communities saying, you know, I'm gonna start with the YouTube coaching, the content creator coaching. I'm gonna do the sports analogies, and then I'm gonna drop that and then go back to this other thing. Why did you make that change? Was it internal or an external influence?
It was a combination of both, external and internal. From an internal standpoint, as much as I wanted to be the next Stephen A. Smith or be the next Shannon Sharp and talk sports, have a passion for it, I was out of my lane. I even had some of my community individuals from the huddle come over and support me. And they're like, we don't even know nothing about basketball or sports. We just here for you because you're entertaining with it. But you do need to understand you need to come back to the huddle. And so hearing enough of that, and then also hearing my daughter, who I wasn't realizing was paying attention, but she was paying attention all the time, said, how come you don't do the huddle no more? I see you doing sports now, but it seems like, you were doing better over here. And once I heard enough of that, I realized that I needed to get back in my right lane and or stop looking at someone else's lane and get back in my own lane. It was time to pivot and come back to the huddle. So it was a combination of both. And it took courage. It took courage to do that because, I'm a strong believer. If God is not fickle, you shouldn't be fickle either.
I appreciate you for sharing that. And I wanted to hear that. And shouts out, kudos to you for not being bullheaded or selfish or what. And right, and hearing that, right, hearing those messages and understanding that if you're going to do this and you're going to be quote unquote somewhat successful, whatever the case may, whatever your definition of successful is, you kind of have to not just read the analytics, not just listen to the community, but see what's happening on the horizon. Not just saying that you couldn't have made a couple of different channels and do both things, but for you to do what you wanted to do what you felt needed to be done, for you to reach more folks in a shorter period of time. This whole thing is a marathon instead of a sprint, but for you to really have as much of an impact as you've had already, you were actually able to humble yourself, pick up that bag and say, let me go back, let me go over here and lock in on this. Let me get focused on doing this right here instead of trying to splintering me and splintering my community and my audience. So give you some flowers, brother. Appreciate you for sharing that.
Thank you.
I got my question.
All right, Steve, what's your question?
Felt like that person in church. Like, I got my question. So I'm doing this series. This is for James. I'm doing this series on coming up. Florence, I think you'll like it. Could be on Monday morning. So I won't be this Monday morning. I'm going to start next Monday morning on fear. And we're talking about all these different types of fears that leaders have and that they struggle with. James, what's something, because we see you, whether it's all your different shows, all the different things that you put out there, and the things that I know of you from just our interaction. What's something that someone doesn't really know about you that you would like to for people to know? What's like something that you feel like you can't really express maybe with any of your platforms that behind closed doors, or when you're away from the camera, you may struggle with, or you may think about, and it just kind of is always top of mind, right? Because you're always on point, right? But what's that thing that kind of, I don't want to say keeps you up at night, but what's that thing that behind closed doors is something that you want people to know about yourself?
There's two. One is empathy. A lot of times you'll hear me say, well, my family will hear me say that I don't like anybody. I don't like people. Don't like people. But how can a guy who doesn't like people spend a good quantity of his time online, chatting, telling stories, chopping up, things of that nature? So believe what I say and do what I say and don't do what I do, kind of thing, right? Understand the fact that, again, when I show up, that it's not pretend, that it's actually real. Folks don't know, again, outside of just the three that live in this building, that I can get very attached and very emotional to these things. So, right. So I'm actually starting to get warm right now, because that's such an intimate question. You see, I talk with the hands a lot. I call them the jazz hands. So when I'm on stage, I'm doing this as well. But I really want folks to understand that coming from a good decent place with these messages, and there is no big me, little you. There is no crab in a barrel situation. So if I'm coming at you and I'm telling you something, it's because I've already fallen down. I've already fallen down, and I've already gotten up, and I've got the scars on me to prove it. I've written down how to get around that and how to avoid those kinds of things. So I think folks don't realize that this 54-year-old has been around the block a handful of times, and it can tell some stories about some different things. And I don't know everything. I'm not the smartest person in the room. I don't ever want to be in that room that I'm the smartest person in the room. But you can trust me as an advocate for you. That's why I don't like the word influencer. Y'all right here know I don't like the word influencer. You will never hear me say the word influencer as it relates to me. You always hear me say I'm an advocate. When it comes down to you booking time on my calendar to have a conversation, you send me an email, you send me a text, I'm actually going to make sure that I give you the best answer that I have, or I put you in touch with the person who can give you that best answer. And I can be humble about that. So I think to answer your question, long answer being short, I don't think folks realize that there is no airs, man. There's no pretentiousness. There's no airs. It is what it is, what it is, what it is. So that's it. Yeah, that's a good question, boy. Watch yourself now.
That was worth the wait, I think. Thank you.
That was worth the wait.
All right,
put some scotch in this instead of drinking this coffee, because you got your.
All right. Come on, Mr. Strong. Who you got a question for?
Oh, my question would be for Mr. Steve Worthy. You are an individual who has had a successful career in retail leadership, worked for top companies like Target, and even worked with companies that are not as known. So you're very comfortable in talking to people. When was it when you found your confidence in being on camera on YouTube?
Dude, I hate you. I feel like,
well, I got to stay in my wheelhouse because there may be someone in the audience that has all your
I feel like
they struggle.
I feel like that interview. I feel like that interview with that girl asked Mos Def about Drake, and she's like, "Is Drake hip hop?" And I was like, and he was like, "Why you mean that ass?" It's likable. It's likable. So many SKUs. Well, I still get nervous each and every single time. I still get nervous each and every single time. When I was starting the idea around live streaming, I was lurking. I was like in the eCam community for like 6 months, and I was like, "Yo, y'all doing too much. Y'all doing too much. It don't take all that to go live. It don't take all that to go live. What y'all doing? What's all that dashboard stuff? Y'all." It was the same way I felt when like people would be out like in public vlogging. It was like, "Oh, y'all just doing too much. Nobody cares about your story. Nobody. What y'all doing?" The reason why I felt that way was because I wasn't doing it, and I was deflecting, and I was scared, and so I put it off on everybody else that y'all doing too much when I wasn't doing anything, and I remember when I first went live into the eCam community, and there were so many people showed up. It was crazy. I think I had like 18, maybe 25 people like helping me out with stuff like that. And I was like, "Ooh, that helped build my confidence." And then I did my first live event. It was on a Sunday night, and and I had 2 people on. The power went out. One of the guys was over in the UK, and it was 11 o'clock at night for him. Power went out. It was a storm, went out twice. And each time they came back on and we finished the live, it took us like 2.5 hours to finish it. And I continued to fall in love with the medium. But I get nervous. I still get nervous every time I go live, because there's a lot of responsibility for this, and I think people don't understand that aspect of it. There is a lot of responsibility because you are doing something that a lot of people can't do, and I'm not. And please don't take this the wrong way. but you are doing you're doing something that a lot of people are looking at you, and you are a voice of knowledge, of wisdom, and you are sharing aspects of your life, right? And here's the other part about the camera, man. The camera can tell. The camera can tell you ain't on point. The camera don't lie. Right. I remember doing a live. I remember I did a live, and there were just things going on in my personal life. And I did that live, and I just thought I crushed it. And I remember 2 people jumped on and shot me a text. They were like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, I'm fine. You sure?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they called me, and as soon as they picked up, I start crying because when things weren't right in my life at that point in time, and I realized that the camera can pick up everything. The camera doesn't lie. And so that's why, for me, I get nervous because of the responsibility, and I always have to make sure I check myself that what I'm delivering is going to change somebody's life. And I know that sounds super Pollyannish, but it's so true. If I'm looking in this camera and I'm talking to somebody, hopefully I'm changing somebody's life, and that's just a massive responsibility as well. So I appreciate the question, dude.
Y'all know
Can't
why
hear
they
you, Florence.
here. You know why they are here. You know what? Stop with the hashtag mutination. Cut it out. All right, Mr.
go.
Uwe'l, you ain't off the hook. Who you got a question for? What's your question? Who you got a question for?
Oh, this is easy. So he said it very early on, Mr. Worthy himself. He talked about going global with his business. How did you know? When did you know it's time to expand? And what's that? And let's add something to that. What is that internal conversation?
That's for me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay. The idea is that I was having a conversation with somebody about the book that I'm writing, Approachable Retail Leader, and he is over in Paris, and he is and I have been, God has been so good. I was very fortunate to call this guy my friend. He is the go-to person for international retail real estate, whether it's Dubai, Paris, it doesn't matter, and he happens to be Black. And I was interviewing him for my book, and we were having this conversation, and we were talking about the concept and the ideas around just the business in the book. He said, "Steve, you just thinking too small." He just literally said that to me. So you're just thinking too small. He said, "What you have here, your perspective, and what you want to see, it requires a global stage, and you have to broaden your perspective. You have to surround yourself with people who are thinking global and who have a global perspective, but you don't know they have a global perspective because they're not talking they're not out there hashtag global perspective. They're actually just living it, and they're doing it. And I really ask God to bring people like that in my life to impart that wisdom, and to one kind of, we talked about from that business plan perspective, to call my baby ugly and to say, yeah, your baby's not that your baby's actually kind of cute. Your baby can do more if you were to do this, if you were to think differently, if you were to get SOPs in place, if you were to in our learning community, if you were to add an international perspective inside of what you're talking about from a leadership standpoint, right? Add those things, and people. So as I started to do that, that's exactly what happened. The audience, whether it's live streams or people inside the community that we call the campus, it's international, and part of that is just the mindset shift, and then what I need to offer, not just here in the States, but can I just say this too? We get so caught up when we start to think about our market. We think about demographics. They actually have to be this age. They actually have to be at this position. And I shift in my mindset to focus on psychographics in the context of, where are they in their career? What decisions are they trying to make? and what decisions can I help them facilitate? That's global. That's global. That's not just a United States thing. That's not just a South America thing. That's a global perspective. And so as I started to do that, things just started to kind of fall in place, and it's just a mindset shift. And everything we do has a international perspective and context, that we do, and the partnerships that we have um aren't just in the United States, they're global as well too. The book that I'm writing, it took a different spin from just being a book about this person's growth from a retail standpoint here in the States. Now he's actually going global, and he's going to come back to the States. And so everything that we do has this underpinning of helping a global market, a global retail leader, because at the end of the day, their struggles are just similar to the ones over here in the States as well. I don't know if that answers your question.
Awesome. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Go ahead, Josh.
No, that was it.
Okay. Did anybody ask you a question?
No, because the first one was all about me, so I'm good. I'm good on this one.
You know what?
I'm good. You gotta remember, that was my first time with the crew, so they knew each other, they didn't know me, so I was the one getting the question, so I can sit back this time. I like this.
Oh my goodness!
Josh
So
is
we
back
do
there
have
chilling now.
back there chilling. We do have another audience question, and before I ask this question for you all to answer, those who want to, those who need to, I'm going to say to the community: last call, last call, last call. Get your question in. Q : last call, because we're gonna start flicking lights. So the question is from Inanea. It was actually the second half of her question about the book. And this is there a certain period of time a nonprofit should wait before transitioning to for-profit? I'm going to say, should a nonprofit transition to a for-profit?
I was going to say
that's the first thing to answer. So who wants to go? I'm gonna let y'all pick.
Well, I always say start with why, right? And here's the thing: I know everybody always says it. Start with why. Everybody wants to read a book. I always say it because no one does it. No one starts with why. Everybody wants to start with the how and then the what. And so if you can really get a good perspective, understanding of your why, why do you want to go from I can understand it from a fiduciary standpoint, right? But then how is that business structure going to look? What are going to be some of the different attributes that you're going to be going after? Because here's the other part. I think is it because from a nonprofit standpoint, is the fundraising, is that a little tough, or are you starting to see people ask you for more business outside of that that nonprofit perspective, right? So you have to also weigh the pros and cons of the business model that you're actually going to be transitioning into as well.
Can you repeat the question again? The second question.
Absolutely. The question is, at what point, let me get back to it here. Give me a second. Is there a certain point of time a nonprofit should wait before transitioning to for-profit? Is there a certain period of time? I'm assuming, and Inanea, please correct me, is it like the length of time, like is it 6 months, a year, or 10 years, or whatever, that a nonprofit should wait before transitioning to for-profit?
So I'm going to answer this question as a person that's being serviced by the nonprofit. If a nonprofit is going to consider changing from nonprofit to profit, when they begin to make that known to the community, that they have really thought it real through, they've answered the why, they've answered all the how, but they understand the impact it's going to have it upon the community that they've been servicing. Because if the impact is going to be negative,
great point.
If it's going to be negative to the community, to me as the person being served, it may not be a good decision.
Wow, that's a word. if it's going to be next. And I do just want to we have a first timer here, but someone I have seen throughout the eCam world. G. Albert, welcome, and you are dropping it on. I'm more of a behind the scenes person trying to help others to improve and grow and support. Yes, and thank you for being here supporting. If you have a question, please get your question in. And James Hicks is right on it. I love that, G. Albert. Yes. Thank you for being here and thank you for supporting. So, anyone else got feedback on that question for Inanea?
Sure, I'll go. Because I guess technically on this panel, I am the nonprofit specialist. So let's look at it like this. There should never be a point where a nonprofit transitions to a for-profit. One, because your mission, your vision, your projects, and your programming is nonprofit based, right? So that means those who need you come from a certain sector of life that they need support. Your support is coming either from private resources or state funding, right? Those two things you can never transition one into the other, right? So what you would have to do is close out the nonprofit properly, and then go into a new entity as a for-profit with a revised mission, vision, purpose, understanding that when you create program projects as a for-profit, it's not going to garner the same weight it would as a nonprofit, because those programs and projects are designed to affect and to serve a very specific community. So almost, let's go back to niching down, right? The more you niche down as a nonprofit and you work within that community or that market, the more grantors, funding sources, not discretionary funds are open to you, not even to think about what the government may have for you as well. So short answer is there should not be a period of transition. There should be a closure when you realize that the vision and mission and the purpose of the nonprofit no longer aligns to where a nonprofit is, and it's time to go into a for-profit.
Yeah.
Mute Nation.
Hey.
Cut it out. So we have one last question, and I'm gonna let this let this, unless someone else drops one. And Inanea, she said she had a lot of questions, so she did, and I am really messing this up. What is and lady, I'm gonna get you. What is a trait each of you really admire / respects about Equip Institute? Nothing. They just, I'm the little sister that annoyed them and said, "You coming?"
Well, she's my big sister, and she still annoys the hell out of me, but I love her. So I'll start because I have a perspective, and I'm gonna speak for Frank and I. Frank and I have a perspective that no one else on this screen has. We were around when this was an idea, right? When she was battling between stepping away from all the other things that she had obligated herself to, and her taking that moment to leap off that cliff and to fly, right? So what you all see is a very well packaged product. What I know is my screaming sister Messy Love, that I call her, because everything that you see, this woman takes the time to work on it. She reviews her videos. She watches these gentlemen on the screen, and she takes notes. I cannot say what I do not see, and what I do see is that she will sit there for hours doing the work. So when she shows up and she's prepared, and she has a very straightforward and honest perspective on something, she's done her due diligence. She's not someone who just hops on screen and says, okay, let me be popular, right? She does the work. And we fuss about this all the time. There's not one person that works with her, that works for her, that's on her team, that she does not understand exactly what they do. I tell all the time, stay the hell out my lane, but she always brings her ass over there trying to figure something out, right? But I say that jokingly, but I also say that there's an attribute that most don't get. There's nothing that her team will do that she's not willing to do. So the respect that I have for her is seeing her take an idea, right? Then her doing the work, one, purposeful. her praying and asking God to show her what direction to take. Because when she said yes to YouTube, and she said yes to Iron Sharpens Iron and the Core 4 and Equip Institute, she said no to a whole lot of stuff. And if you know her personally, you know that this woman serves in multiple capacities. So when she decided to serve this community, she had to transition her service to others in a particular way, right? So what I admire the most about my friend, my big sister, my mentor at times, because when when it comes to organization, she knows I come to her often for things and tips. But when it comes to that person for me, what I admire the most is that she does the work. She honestly does the work. There's not a resource that she will not provide that she has not vetted. There's not a paper that she has not, or a newsletter that she has not written, that she has not toiled over for days. There isn't a product that she offers up that she will not spend her own money and buy and make sure it works for her community. She's sold out for Equip, and that is what I admire the most about her.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Walter.
Dude.
Frank said you also pushed Josh and him over the cliff when you pushed me over the cliff.
Oh, I did? Okay. I guess you guys came with the package.
Right, yeah. Yes.
You came with the package because she was like, no, you guys are coming along. I would say the word courage. The word courage. That day where she typed in the chat, happy birthday. There were many days before that, for whatever reason, she did not have the courage to want to make herself known to me. That translated from the courage to now start doing live streaming and providing content for an audience, turned into last year's panel. Something that she's probably did in the corporate world, but in the YouTube world, it took courage to do that, to bring personalities like Professor James, Steve, myself, her brother. That took courage. And so now doing this a second time, next year is going to even be bigger, because next year will require the courage of a webinar, of bringing multiple people.
Tongue.
I will not.
Speak.
I will not. The courage to put together a webinar that can help individuals like myself and those in the audience so that they can understand more about purpose, productivity, and planning. And then even after that, maybe 2-3 years, the courage to put together a virtual conference. Because you have to understand, where there is no vision, people perish. But because you have vision, you're going to draw people who want to live.
And I will draw all men unto me.
Man.
Hey, if you're getting great value out of this live stream show, do me a favor. If you haven't, click that thumbs up button. Share this on your favorite social media platform. And if you have not subscribed to Equip Institute, you want to hit that subscribe button, click the alert notification button, and join the conversation in the live chat this evening.
What you waiting for?
So,
message on your phone from James Hicks saying, "Are we leaving at 6?
James Hicks?
There at 6?
What the heck?
Man, listen.
What is your James Hicks? What is your phone doing?
You got too much technology.
He got too much technology. I just want to acknowledge something here. And G. Albert, thank you so much for sharing something so personal. An announcement from a quiet place. My daughter in Barcelona shared a short video sharing the heartbeat of a tiny 6-week baby. So proud. Congratulations. That is so when you saw me do this, I was reading it. That is so precious.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with
That's
us.
awesome.
That is amazing that you are willing to share something so personal and so proud, so intimate with this community. So thank you, G. Albert. Thank you. Thank you. And Walter Jeanette, I don't even know what you're talking about. Shout out to Walters in the world.
That's
Oh,
right.
Walter and
Leaders,
Walter.
if
I
you
just got it.
understand the
Walter and
etymology of
Walter.
if you
Yeah,
understand the
yeah, yeah,
etymology
yeah.
of Walter, it's a German name, German origin. With it means ruler of army, a ruler of an army.
Mm.
Yeah. So I'm going to. Does anyone else have anything you want to say? Because I'm going to ask my question.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for James.
No, I mean, I think Walter and Joshua.
Yeah,
I
they
mean,
they came with it.
Yeah. We good, because they just crushed it. They covered it all. Like I mean, everything I wanted to say, Joshua said it, and then everything I thought about saying the second time, Walter said it. So,
Walter, what are you talking about? Yup. Walter Jeanette.
yeah, so
my,
many good
yup.
things.
So here's my question, and you should be prepared for it by now. And after we do
Lord.
this, I'm gonna just give people an opportunity to connect, and then we gonna go home, as the scene goes.
Okay.
What is it I can do to support you? I stand on you all's shoulders. I truly do.
Oh.
I send texts at strange times, stomp through the house at weird times, and all kind of stuff. But what can I do to support you?
I'll start because I did. So I wanted to piggyback off of the last one, and I'll finally do my sports analogy, and that is that you respect the process. Right, that you respect the process, and we see that in you in that evolution over the years time frame, and you continuing to actually enjoy that process. You enjoy the pros and the cons, the pitfalls and the hills and the valleys and all that stuff, and you continue to iterate, and you continue to get better, and you continue to do the thing. What you can do to support me personally is to keep doing that, keep showing up. Keep going live, keep pressing record, keep finding guests, keep doing webinars, keep doing seminars, keep talking to folks about finding their purpose. Keep helping folks find a way of getting around and out of the funk of being busy versus productive. Keep doing that thing. Keep reaching one person each day. And that and that's how I'll be the proud uncle sitting in my chair and say, "Go ahead, Florence. Look at you." Right. So that's the benefit that I get from just being around folks. Again, I don't want to be the smartest one in the room. I just want to be around folks that are doing something positive. And so that's how you can support me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would I guess I will answer kind of do similar to what James said, and I'll just probably answer that last question with this one is that what I appreciate and admire so much about you is your discipline, right? You don't waver, right? You are not a trend follower. You are who you are, and you say what you say, and your topic is your topic, right? And you stay on that. Yes, there's you bring in other topics to kind of validate and to provide a little flavor for something, but it doesn't diminish your core message. The discipline that I appreciate about you is just you're constantly showing up, right? And you're constantly showing up prepared, like to Joshua's point. That's why I said Joshua said it all. Like I already know you're gonna be prepared, right? I mean, when I think about like my Monday lives, I'm like, and I'll chime in and look at your thing on Friday. I'm like, yo, this gal prepared. I gotta make sure my stuff on point on Monday. Because here's why. You know why? Because I know you gonna be in the audience.
True.
and part of that is that accountability that we all need, right? If you know somebody, it's like that Mamba mentality. Kobe wanted people around him that he could pass the ball to. Right? He wanted people. He didn't want. I'm in the gym 5 a.m. You come in the gym at 7, 8 o'clock. I don't need you on my team. I want you right here with me at 5 a.m. And that's what you do for us. I believe you get us in the gym at 5 a.m. and making sure that we working out and that everything that we produce, we can produce on the court when we get the ball. So I just think keep doing, keep that discipline, because it's not just discipline for discipline's sake. You're helping others achieve their discipline, right? It's like a good teacher. That's what a really good teacher does. Like if they're disciplined, they're the students, right? The students become disciplined and they start to study more. So just keep that going.
Thank you. I will do my very best. Mr. Strong?
I would say continue to provide what you've been providing since the day we began to interact with one another online and even through Zoom calls and telephone calls, accountability. When you saw me go out of my lane and start a new YouTube channel because I had burnt myself out, you came right over there and you supported me just like I was on the huddle. You even said, I don't know nothing about basketball, but I'll just come and support you. But you picked your moments to say, you really need to come back. You really need to come back because you have so much more to give. And I understand you for whatever your reasons why you're doing this now. I'm here, but I'm going to be here being accountable enough to tell you that you're in the wrong lane. So just continue to provide that high level of accountability, because it's teaching me also to have the courage to have that same attitude and posture towards others when they do the same, make the same errors, to give them that same level of accountability and don't shortchange it.
And Mr. Uwe'l?
I don't think you're going to like my answer, but mine for you is stay focused and do not give up. That's what I need from you. And I'll tell you why. It has nothing to do with me wanting to see you win, because I know you're going to win, because the way God has designed your path, your journey, and your posture, right? I know you're going to win. But more so the reason why I need you to stay focused is because all those darn text messages, phone calls, brunches, drives, random conversations about YouTube, what product you going to use next, how great this is going to work out, about James, Steve, Walter, the other Walter, Tech, or anybody else that I've had to learn about or discuss for you to be on this journey, okay? We're not going to allow that time to go in vain. So that's why I need you to stay focused, because I already know that your path is lit and it's designed for you to win, because who you are and what you bring to the table, people need to know how to be purposeful in their walk, purposeful in their talk, purposeful in the things they do. So I already know you're going to win, right? I just need you to hurry up and win so I can stop working and then I could be somewhere on somebody's yacht sitting back with a camera calling myself a producer, okay? That's what I need most from you. That's it. But no, in all seriousness, this is your season. This is your season to be served, because you serve for so much. And again, this is a kind of loaded question for me, because I personally know you. We're family, right? So I know what you poured out all the years. So for me, there's nothing you can do for me but continue to allow us to serve you, because us serving you is allowing you to serve greater.
Yes, sir.
But I still want that yacht, though. I'm not.
I know you do.
Yeah. I know. Yeah,
I know you do.
I was waiting for you to say that.
He ain't
right.
Don't get it twisted, right? We
not
can
even
say all this we want to, but
he is so not joking, y'all. He ain't joking a little bit. So you guys, you have been tremendous. You brought great value. You've closed out Black History Month, Iron Sharpen Iron Month, like only you can do. And I am so grateful. Last thing I'm going to ask you to do is one by one, I want you to tell everybody how to connect with you, what you're up to, And then we really, truly out of here. And I'm going to start with the man who kicked us off for the month, Mr. Worthy. Coming to you.
Ooh. You can connect with me either at worthyretail.com, but the best place is LinkedIn, and you can just look me up at Steve Worthy over on LinkedIn. You will see everything that I'm up to, all the resources, the content, the podcast, Retail Leadership with Steve Worthy, and then we launched a learning community called The Campus, which I'm really excited about. So you can connect with me over on LinkedIn.
All right. And now I'm going to stay in the background. We're going to go to Mr. Uwe'l. What you got, sir?
Sure. So I am just here to serve, nothing more, nothing less. But for those who are interested in taking their nonprofit from not profitable to profitable, you're more welcome to reach out to me at info@brand, BRAND, your MLM. The M is for messaging, the L is for your legacy, the other M is for your mindset. So other than that, that's what I do. Blessings.
All right. Blessings. And Mr. Strong.
Hey, truly, I want to thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this Core 4 panel, Iron Sharpens Iron, so I don't want to take it for granted in no way. You can connect with me on the Huddle with Walter Strong III on YouTube. We go live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to share tips and tools on making live streaming easy for you as a beginner. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn. Let's have a conversation on helping you find confidence on your camera, having clarity about your message, and you producing content that's going to serve your audience.
Thank you. And, wrong one. Where you at?
Wrong one.
James Hicks, the closer.
Hey, again, Florence, thank you for this. Just like everyone has said, this has been, selfishly, this has been probably more rewarding for me than it has been for some folks probably in the audience. Because again, we got down into some really, really good conversations, and we were above the noise. Right. I think we really got into some meaningful dialogue today. Hopefully we started some meaningful dialogue that even folks in the comments can reach out on an individual basis and get even deeper if you need that too. You can catch me online at hicksnewmedia.com. That's really the hub for finding out what events I'm doing, what webinars I'm going to, what conferences I'm going to, where my YouTube channel is. So everything really lives off of hicksnewmedia.com. And again, I just want to say thank you for this opportunity to be part of this collective right here. The core four horsemen. We gonna have to get some T-shirts or something made, because this is we hot. Yeah, we hot.
Okay. So thank you all. And just the question was asked, I will say absolutely. Links are in the description of the video, how to connect with each of them, their website, their YouTube channel. If you want to know more, you can always connect with me. The link is right there on the screen, as well as it's been dropped in the chat by one of our moderators. So thank you all for serving. And I absolutely agree with you, Walter, Jeanette. This was a phenomenal time, and it's because of the roundtable that happened tonight. So everybody, what I'm going to say to you is good night. Have a great time. I'm going to put everybody in the green room while I close this out and try to do this right. So it's been my pleasure, and I would hope you all come back next Friday, because we will be here Friday, and there will be a video right here that points you to last week's video. And remember to subscribe. See you guys next time.